Hello, this is Sandy. Welcome to my desk. I'm not outside right now. It's 18 degrees, snowy, icy, and really completely inhospitable to doing any walking tour anywhere. Um, this is probably the longest I've gone without being outside. I hate to say, like in my life. I mean, I've been out the door, but I can't walk around. It is not safe. Hey, Johnny, great to see you. Hey, where you are, I think it's warmer where you are than it is where I am. It has to be. It was 7 degrees when I woke up this morning. So there's really not much to do here. Um, and so I thought I'd do a little stream from my desk. Daphne, hi, it's so great to see you. Yeah, I'm home. I live between Baltimore and Washington. Ice, snow, like sheets of thick ice out there. So no walking. I really hope to get out this weekend. But I did want to take some time to talk about America 250 and all the cool trips that one can plan now while they're stuck in the house. And this is like my third live stream from my desk. I've screwed it up again. I forgot to add myself actually into the stream. So I was talking for about 30 seconds before I realized I was not added into the stream. So thank you all for hanging in there while you were listening to absolutely nothing. Yeah, no, I'm not traveling. I'm literally sitting here freezing in my home office, big sweater on. Metastate, hey, you went south for the winter. Oh, that's awesome. Well, so here's what I understand. Depending on where you went south, there's a prediction for potential snow in Florida this Sunday. So yet again, the whole East Coast is going to be um, in the bullseye for a storm, although they're not calling for as bad weather here. So, but what can you do when you're stuck in the house and we can't go touring? I had so many tours planned. Um, I hopefully the next time the streets are clear, and that might be a while. I'll be doing downtown Baltimore around the B&O Railroad Museum in that area there. Huge amount of history, railroad history, Irish history, uh, several historic Baltimore markets and there's an old ironworks, all kinds of cool places around there. But gotta have be able to actually walk and also not freeze. Definitely warm. Here in Denver, yeah, you've definitely got warmer weather there than we do today. Well, let's dive into some really cool things that you can do while you're planning this entire year. 2026 is the 250th anniversary of our nation, founded in 1776. So the big bicentennial was in 1976, and now we're 50 years later, and it's the semi-sesquid Okay, semi-quincentennial. So the way that they've decided to call this thing is half of 500, semi-quincentennial. You don't need to know any of that. It's just, yeah. Um, but let's dive into some resources out there to help you plan your great American road trip. So the theme of our talk today is the Great American Road Trip. And this is part of America 250. And let's dive right in. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Yeah, oh goodness. Okay, got a lot of tabs going here. And I don't know what NVIDIA just did to me. Okay, NVIDIA can go away. The Great American Road Trip. All right, let's start with the America 250 website. So this America 250 is a huge celebration across multiple federal government agencies and resources, and private companies are sponsoring it. Local historical societies, every part of the United States is getting ramped up to celebrate all throughout the year. This is the official website. It's the America250.org. I've put Some of the links in the description to this video, I'll put the rest in after the video is published. This is your one-stop shop for everything. And there's an amazing calendar of events all across the country and a handy dandy little map to help you check those out and find the events near you. So if you go to America250.org and then you can zoom in, let's zoom in to my area here, Washington, D.C., there's a lot of stuff going on. 7 different events, 6 events. You can click on those little markers and find all of the events in your area. And here you see this little symbol that says free. Probably 90% of what you find out here around America 250 is going to be free. So take advantage of it, not just in the nation's capital, but all across the United States. Lots and lots going on. Now, as I said, I'm still learning this whole StreamYard thing. I'm going to do stop sharing for just a moment. Okay, now I'm back because when I'm sharing, I can't see the chat. I'll have to figure out how to do that a little bit better. And when I'm not sharing, I want that up there. Okay, I want my little stage up there. But I'm going to try this again. Share my screen. I wanted to share the window. Why is it not letting me share the window? I had it up there before. Ooh, let's see if that works. Yeah, that's a bad one. Okay, we're going to try that again. Thank you all for your patience. Let's try this one more time. Let's go back. Okay, I wanted to share my Google window instead of just site by site. All right, well, that's not going to work. But what I really wanted to talk about today is the Great American Road Trip. So as part of America 250, one of the coast-to-coast events that's taking place is the Great American Road Trip. And if you're from the United States, you know what this is. Road trip, any road trip, anytime you hop in the car and go someplace, anytime you grab your family, pile into that wood grain covered station wagon and just hit the road. And this was huge in the 1950s and 60s when families could afford a car and when there was a little more leisure time after the war and after the recovery from the Great Depression. And we were in good times. In the 50s and the 60s, Americans hit the road. Roads were being built. The Federal Highway Administration was created, and President Eisenhower signed laws to create the national highway system. And now we could get from place to place to place. And we did that for vacation. This website, roadtripinamerica.com, is sponsored by the by the Department of Transportation and has hundreds of suggestions for road trips in America. And you can work your way through different regions of the United States. So I'm going to guess this 6-story elephant icon, I'm going to guess that's Margate in New Jersey. Lucy the elephant in Margate, New Jersey. And so you can learn all about the area, what's nearby, the Battleship, New Jersey in Camden. Well, it's not too close. The Statue of Liberty. Gardens, other locations, America's first boardwalk in Atlantic City. Monuments, memorials, Ellis Island. Rent a Surrey and tour a historic trail. That should say an historic trail. Explore the steel history of Pittsburgh. Whoops. Tour famous mansions and cliffs. That's Newport, Rhode Island. I know that for sure. aircraft carriers, spacecraft, giant coffee pot shaped landmark. Okay, I got to find that one. Bedford, Pennsylvania, to see the giant coffee pot. Okay, Roadside America. Roadside America is wonderful, especially the places that have preserved these iconic landmarks. The great big bottle of ketchup and the TP Hotel here in Maryland as you're heading towards Southern Maryland. All of those really, really cool landmarks. So this website can give you great ideas either by location or by theme. If you want to go visit war memorials, if you want to go visit um, forts, if you want to visit, depending on the theme, there's a duck-shaped building. Okay, that has to be Pennsylvania. Nope, Long Island, New York. Okay, you can check out weird roadside attractions. You can check out history, the history of country music, where Elvis and Johnny Cash recorded. A life-size replica of the Titanic. See, these things, I had no idea. A life-size replica of the Titanic is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Had no idea. Did anyone have an idea that there was a life-size Titanic in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee? Hey, Meta, Morocco was the first to recognize US as an independent nation. That is so cool. That is absolutely cool to know. Even cooler than the life-size Titanic Museum. Life-size replica of a Greek temple. The world's largest buffalo monument. Radiator Springs, I've been. This is off of Route 66, the little town and the area that route that Cars was modeled after is all around Route 66. The roadside dinosaurs. There are also some really interesting museums. Like I was driving from here up to Buffalo, New York, and went through Jamestown, Pennsylvania, to the I Love Lucy Museum, like the Museum of Lucille Ball. And it was amazing. It was just an old theater. The world's largest baseball bat. I've been there. Louisville, Kentucky. I've been there. Rainforest, early Spanish colonial history. That has to be in Florida. I can skip the world's largest shopping mall. 400 planes at this museum. Okay, which one is that? The Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. 400 planes. Okay, my dad may want to visit there. My dad may want to check that out. Canyons, red cliffs. And I could keep going on and on and on, but I won't. But check this out. If we're stuck indoors, we can do all the planning for our next trips. And there may be really interesting places that are just right around the corner and we have no idea. I literally found one today. I found a museum today I had no idea about. There's a trolley museum in Boonesboro, Maryland. Didn't know it. Boonesboro is really close to Sharpsburg, Maryland, where the Battle of Antietam was fought. I'm there all the time, and I had no idea there's a trolley museum near there. So I'm definitely going to check that out. Now, if I switch tabs, let's see if this works. So we've taken a look at the Great American Road Trip website. Again, this is from the Department of Transportation, but many parts of the government. And actually, we'll spend a whole afternoon, evening webcast, live cast talking about the National Park Service and everything that they're doing around America 250. So when we talk about road trips, everyone automatically thinks about Route 66, but I'm not going to start with Route 66. I'm going to start with the National Road. And I'm on the website for the B&O Museum, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum. I mentioned this earlier as a place that we are going to visit as soon as the weather permits. Baltimore, one of the reasons Baltimore is famous is because railroads in the United States began right here in Baltimore, right where the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum is located. It was on July 4th of 1828 that the first spike of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad was driven. It took many, many years for it to expand, and other railroads cropped up across the United States. But Baltimore was always the home of the railroad. It was also, I won't say it's the home of the National Road. It is one terminus of the National Road because it actually started in Cumberland, Maryland. But the National Road um, comprises many different roads today. In Baltimore, from Baltimore to Cumberland, it was Route 40, US Route 40. There are other United States highways now that have taken over bits and pieces of the National Road. The cool thing is to get off the highway, because the great part of American road trips is not following the highway, getting off the highway. That's why Route 66 is so cool. You get off the main Route 66 and you ride on old Route 66, because that's where the small towns were. When the United States started building its interstate system, predominantly in the 1950s, it allowed us to travel faster because it bypassed all the small towns, right? It bypassed the small, um, intersections, the stoplights, the stop signs. It exploded through mountains. And you can see this really clearly in Western Maryland when you are driving out from the National Road to Route, I think, 76 west. You can clearly see where the highway was carved through the mountain. And the great thing is, if you like geology, you can look and see all the strata in the different layers of earth. As the road's going through, you can see all the different epochs of history in the rock that's been blown away. It bridged rivers. It allowed us to travel so much faster, but it bypassed all the small towns. And so when we do a road trip, we don't want to stay on the highways. We want to hit those small towns. That's where the cool stuff is. So this is a map, an older map of the original, not really the original National Road, because that started in the 1800s. Um, it says here, it was President McKinley, not William McKinley. It says Henry McKinley. He must have been okay. So he was in the cabinet, but in Thomas Jefferson's cabinet, the original documents were signed to build this road, and we still travel it today. Route 40 is a really important route through downtown Baltimore out to Western Maryland. So on this website, you can see a little bit of history, but also I want to draw your attention. If you're a completist and a collector like me, here's another cool thing to collect as you're out there on the road. Hey, Daly. Daly, I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for jumping in. It's great to see you in the chat. Um, I hope you're warm and it's not freezing wherever you are like it is here. But if you're a collector or a completionist, or a completist, as I call it, these original highway markers are awesome to try to track down. Throughout Washington, D.C., every once in a while I find a boundary marker, and I get so excited when I find a boundary marker. There are USGS markers, United States Geological Survey markers, that show things like where surveys were taken to mark elevation. At Fort Reno Park in Washington, D.C. is the highest point in Washington, D.C. So like I would say, look down, look up and look down. Don't just look straight across when you're adventuring. But what a cool thing to find. An original mile marker, this one, showing 123 miles to Cumberland, Maryland, 8 miles to Wheeling, West Virginia. So we'll have to figure out, where would you be to be 8 miles to Wheeling and 123 miles to Cumberland? Probably Morgantown, maybe. I'm probably really wrong. 7.5 miles to West Alexander and a half a mile to Triadelphia. And that's not the Triadelphia in Maryland. It wouldn't be. But these are cool things to find along the way when you're exploring on a great American road trip. And you can learn about the history, and you can learn about how the roads were built. You can also learn over time at the Federal Highway Administration website. You can see how the roads changed. So if you're doing family research or historic research and you have the name of a road that someone was on, or if you have good old Main Street, well, Main Streets changed. And there are plenty of examples, one in my own research, where I was on a path because this street today is called Main Street. And I dug way back in the Federal Highway Administration maps and found that, well, when my ancestor lived there, that wasn't Main Street. 2 streets over was Main Street. And it just became Main Street today because it's wider and it's easier to travel. So that's the national road. This is the website of the Federal Highway Administration. Now, you're not seeing my screen. Are you not seeing my screen? Heck, I have to keep changing this. See, I'm so sorry. This is why we're doing this, because this is a test stream. I'm failing. I'm absolutely failing in my test stream here. This is why I need to watch myself. Okay. This is why I wanted to share the window. Now I can share the window. Gosh darn it. And I'm talking about the B&O Railroad Museum. And like, you're not telling me in chat that I am not showing the B&O Railroad Museum. Bad chat. Here is, I'm going to edit this video. I'm going to edit this video. Here is the map I was referring to of the National Road from Baltimore all the way to St. Louis, Missouri. So you're probably thinking, what is she talking about? I'm trying to visualize this map. I can't see this map. Now, all of a sudden, it's allowing me to share the entire window. But this, again, is the website of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum. And this is that mile marker I was talking about, 123 miles to Cumberland. 8 miles to Wheeling. We're just going to call this a disaster stream. We're going to call this a disaster stream. This is another practice stream. I'll make a good video and edit it and post it. And then again, the history of building the roads. Good grief. Okay, now you should be seeing the U.S. Federal Highway Administration, there it is, website. On this website, you'll get all of the information about kind of the detail, all the detail around historic American roads and what we call our scenic byways. So in the United States, we've designated certain roads a little off the beaten path, scenic, something to take a look at, not the highway. And sometimes, and some of our GPS apps will do that for us. You can plug in to your settings in Waze and some of the other apps. You can plug in, hey, I want to stay off the highway. So this website has several recommendations for scenic highways, national roads. This is the national road. We can click here and go to America's Byways, the A1A Coastal Highway in Florida, the Acadia All-American Road. There's an Alabama Coastal. I did not know that. Amish country, absolutely fun. Baltimore's historic Charles Street. Oh my gosh, it's a scenic highway, a byway. That's amazing. So I've made a live stream walking down Charles Street on a very windy day, but it was a beautiful sunny day, blue sky. It was amazing. But historic Charles Street has a number of preserved properties, and it's a great place to visit if you're in Baltimore. Heritage Bay Shore Heritage Byway in New Jersey. Big Bend, Blue Ridge Park. Well, Blue Ridge Parkway is just amazing, all the way from Virginia down into the Carolinas and on and on. Brandywine, on and on and on. All of these historic byways. Chesapeake Country. I spent a lot of time on Maryland's Eastern Shore and on those places. So check out all these websites to plan your adventure during this year, America's 250th celebration. Now, it wouldn't be a road trip unless we talked about Route 66. There are several websites dedicated to Route 66. This one is called the Route 66 Centennial.org because 2026 is not only America's 250th, it's Route 66's 100th birthday. And so there are also celebrations around the centennial of Route 66. And so this website and many others can tell you all about activities going on this year. And there are a lot of parts to the story. There's the engineering story that the American Society of Civil Engineers is telling. There's a stamp, there's a commemorative stamp. There is the Extraordinary Women's Initiative. And then there's a lot around the designation of Route 66 as an historic trail, economic development all along this hundreds and hundreds of miles. Now, I did Route 66 about 4 years ago with my daughter. We only did about 180 miles of it because you do have to take your time and hit all the small towns and see the, Radiator Springs, the Sinclair gas stations with the dinosaur. You have to stand on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, next to a Ford My Lord. You do. There is a corner in Winslow, Arizona, just like the song "Take It Easy" by the Eagles. And my daughter, I forced her to stand on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, so there could be "It's a Girl, My Lord" near a flatbed Ford. You have to do the song. Please don't copyright claim me, Don Henley. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, there's so much to do on Route 66 and so much to see. And you can do little chunks of it. As a completist, someday I'll do the rest of it. But it is itself an historic place, and that's why it's been designated. Now, wherever you might be in the United States and wherever you may want to travel, if you're interested in mapping out a trip, obviously go to the websites, go to the local websites, look at the local tourist bureaus, go to your favorite sites, that rate places and events and things. But if you really want to do some mapping and some really, really good mapping, the map for the entire United States, the official map, is the USGS. Say that again. USGS National Map. Many people don't even know this amazing resource exists. I use it for historic research. It is one of those, I won't compare it to Google Earth, but it's one of those maps that has so many layers. It's truly amazing. This, along with Medusa and the Washington, D.C. History Quest maps, are my 3 most used maps. Well, what can you do with this map? So what? It's a map. Well, obviously, you can zoom on in. You can zoom into this map and find out where you are. And you can do that on any map. But you can add layers to this map. And yeah, there are plenty of GIS tools out here that do this, but I think this one is really comprehensive and easy to use. You can go to the layers icon. You can click on the type of information that you want to see on the map. So here I've dropped down structures. And if I want to see landmarks, government buildings, emergency, medical response, education, recreation. Yeah, I want to see recreation. Whoops, try that again. I want to see recreation. Oh, wait, but wait, there's more. Campgrounds, trails, shelters, picnic areas. I want to see visitor and information centers. I want to click. Nope, I want to click. Okay, now it's not doing it. I'm trying to demonstrate how it does it. It doesn't want to do it. Maybe I need to zoom on in. Oh, heck, come on now. It's not. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to move this and build my layer of my map. Where does it want me to build it? Heck. Okay, when they refreshed this site, they made it so helpful to use that I need to relearn myself how to use it. because previously you could just click on the layer and then you would see government buildings and landmarks. And now I want to go back to the map and zoom in on government buildings and landmarks. Maybe I'm not zooming in far enough. There we go. Okay, I wasn't zooming in far enough. Of course not. So here we've elected government buildings and landmarks. And we have government buildings and landmarks here. But this is easy. I'm in Washington, D.C. What if I want to go out to Frederick, Maryland, and see the government buildings and landmarks? And Frederick's a smaller city in Maryland. We've got a good old hospital there. That's all fine and good. But now I'm outside of Frederick, Maryland. I'm on the old National Pike, the old road. I'm in Rohrersville. That's always a good one. Rohrersville, Maryland. I'm heading out to the to the Appalachian Trail. So I want to find a ranger station. So let's see if we can find ranger stations here as we zoom on in and work our way from Maryland. And now we see the Appalachian Scenic Trail, the Appalachian Trail. And along the way, we haven't seen a ranger station yet. But you can zoom in and you'll have much more luck than I am. I'm probably zooming and scrolling way too fast on this map. But you can add layers. I assure you, when you add the layers to this map and the points of interest on this map, you'll be able to find interesting places to visit along your travels all the way across the United States. This is a fantastic resource. I'm just not using it incredibly well, but you will be. You just need to go just a little bit slower. Julie Jordan is in the chat. Julie, I found your website today. Everyone, check out Julie's website, Julie Jordan Scott. Julie, if you want to put your link in the chat, I'll see if I can click it and make it visible. I found Julie's website today. Julie sent and put a note in one of the videos, put a comment on one of the videos I had posted. And then I found her website and I found her adventure at Saguaro National Park. And I had been there 3 years ago when I was doing my Route 66. And we were there, Julie, we were there on a day when, as we left the park and you looked in the rearview mirror, everything turned bright orange, like neon orange. And then that emergency alert signal went off in the car and on our phones because of a dust storm. And I didn't know what to do. My daughter and I were like, hey, what do we do? Do we drive or do we stop? And we both looked at each other and we're like, drive as fast as you can. And you could see this orangey dust behind us. It was the wildest thing. It was the most amazing sunset that day. But when I watched your video, it immediately reminded me of the dust storm that we saw. So Julie says she's loved traveling Route 66. So many memories, especially in Arizona. Thanks for the website info. Oh, that's awesome, Julie. So you're still there, right? You're still on your adventure. Did you find the place that looks like Radiator Springs? And I don't know what it's called, the name of the town, like that they used to inspire cars. It's kind of cool. It's not silly. but they have like, there's a car that looks like Mater, and there's a car that, there's cars that around the town that look like, obviously the cars from Cars. So that's pretty cool. Well, Julie, I'm so glad you found my channel. I'm so glad I found your channel. I can't wait to watch the rest of your adventures. It's really cool that, let's see if I can do this correctly and get this back there. There we go. It's really cool. Now I can see the chat that, that you're editing so quickly, because your videos are not completely disasters like mine tend to be, because I'm just live streaming and I'm usually walking too fast and trying to do too much. And because I'm running around trying to see things and do things, and your videos are incredibly well edited, and you weave in important little facts about the places you are. So really glad to have found your site. And when you make it to Washington or Baltimore, you better send me a note, because I'm going to be your tour guide. We're going to walk from the Library of Congress all the way down to the war memorials, and that's kind of my patented tour, and that would be a lot of fun. Hey Fox, it's really great to see you. Thank you so much. Well, this was like a little bit of a disaster. Um, I thought I was sharing when I wasn't sharing. I thought I was in the chat when I wasn't even in the chat myself. And so because I wasn't in the chat, there was no audio for the first 2 minutes of the stream. Again, I did it before too. I did that once before. I'm such an idiot. Hey, Wade, it's great to see you. I hope it's warm where you are, Wade. This weather is just unbelievable. But yeah, I appreciate everyone being patient with me. I can't believe, because I did that before. My very first live chat, I forgot to add myself to the chat. And I did this time too, because I was trying to be cool and have this little music playing at the beginning. And look, and I've learned to do banners. So here's the website I was talking about. This is roadtripinamerica.com. I also put it in the description. But yeah, I'll get better at this. So yeah, I started out with no audio again for the first 2 flipping minutes of the video. And then as I'm trying to demonstrate different websites, I didn't realize that as I was flipping through websites, you all were only seeing one website. So as I was talking about different websites, everyone was only seeing the first website. So this video will be edited or privated, or heck, I'll probably just leave it up. I leave my bad videos up too, because it reminds me, hopefully, that someday I'm getting better at this. So, and I thank you. I thank you all for being extra kind. Wade is still in Tennessee, but may cancel my flight home to Texas on Monday. Monday's going to be weird down there. Monday's the day that Florida could actually get some snow, which is crazy. We didn't get real snow here. We got like snow and then inches of ice, which is why I'm not outside today. It's why I'm streaming from the desk, and I'm very happy that you've all joined me today just for my rambling and for a demonstration of a few really good websites. So I hope everybody will check those out. Hey, I hope as you look ahead at America 2050 that you find some cool things to do wherever you are in the United States. If you're not in the United States, you know what? Check us out. Plan your trip here to the United States. We are such an amazing country in terms of, well, everything, but geography. We have deserts and beautiful forests and mountains and swamps, and it's all amazingly cool. I live in the state of Maryland. We have the Atlantic beaches. I can drive to the Atlantic Ocean in under 2 hours, or I can be in the mountains in under 2 hours. I can also be in beautiful farmland or awesome cities, everywhere in between. So it's, it's really cool. America 250 has events all year long in every single state, and many of them are free. Families, get out there, check out the calendar, the link that I put in the description. Those of you who are adventurers, you've got lots to do and you've got time to plan it. If you're a completist or a collector, I showed you that historic mile marker. Other things along the way, as you're traveling through America, and I try to make my way to the small towns for the cool things to do. You can use my small town bingo card, but also check out, in addition to the mile markers, check out those town signs, the ones I'm talking about that are usually quite colorful, the small town signs with the gold lettering on them. I love those, and I take pictures of those, and I'm kind of collecting those. Look at the architecture, I love the architecture. Look for ghost signs and other remnants of the oldie days. That's always fun to do. Look for neon signs. Look for those old classic stores that don't exist anymore. Look for railroad stations. That's kind of cool along the way. And if you're following one of the historic roads or historic routes, learn a little bit about the history. Learn about why the road goes here. It's normally uh, a real easy deduction that the roads go to and from the main cities that usually are at the main ports, or in the middle of the country that are at big exchanges for the railroad, in those places where we got our food and our goods and our raw materials, whether it's Pittsburgh for the coal and iron, whether it's the Midwest for cattle and corn and wheat, or way out west for raw minerals and all kinds of cool stuff, or in Maryland for the seafood. You can see all across the country why those roads are where they are and the job that they did. And you can learn a lot of history along the way. So please get out and visit. Thanks everyone for joining me. I will get better at this and we'll just chat. Everyone, check out everyone else's channel in the chat. These are all really good friends of mine in chat. Daphne has a fantastic channel with all kinds of amazing finds and crafts and things to really decorate your home and make it really warm and cozy. Her Valentine's Day finds and projects have been just delightful. So please do that. Daphne, feel free to put your link in the chat anytime. And anyone else that wants to share a link, an idea or a project, anything they're working on, please do. Fox said, I made a new one to be able to chat, but no content. Oh, okay. Well, Fox, if there is some content someday, let us know. But we're glad you're here to chat. Everyone, as I'm losing my voice now, want to renew your wrench? Oh my gosh, because you changed. Aha, because you changed your website. Yes, I do want to renew your wrench. Let's do that right now. Thank you, Fox. I appreciate it. It's not often that I get wackos in the chat, but it seems like when I do, I need all of you. So thank you for that. So you're official now, Fox. Your wrench has been returned to you. There it is. I see it. Thank you. No, thank you. And thank you all. And I saw Daily was in here earlier. Daily Dysfunction and Davyverse one day. Oh my word. I think I had 300 people in chat. I'm not kidding. And there were just a few troublemakers in there, and the two of them handled it extraordinarily well. So I thank them all. All right. Well, this has been a learning experience. You've all been very patient with me. I hope everyone has a very warm and cozy evening ahead of them. Thanks so much for joining. Get out there and explore. Take care.